Wedge Me This. This is episode 28 of Lay the Points. That's what we're doing today. What I saw last night in the NBA Finals game was a dominant performance by the Nuggets again late. What's up, buddy? Okay, not yet. Let's let it dry some more. We spray painted a board, so he's ready to go with what we're doing, but not yet. Anyway, so what I saw last night, dominant performance. Joker won the MVP, rightfully so. He has the most points, rebounds, and assists ever in a playoff run. And let's not forget, this wasn't going game sevens. So he did this in a 5-game series, a 6-game series, a 4-game series, and a 5-game series. That's a lot less than the person that probably held it before him. So it was just a dominant performance overall from the Nuggets. They only lost 4 total games in the 4 rounds. They lost 2 in Phoenix, and then they lost 1 in the Minnesota, and then 1 in the Miami. They swept the Lakers. It was a dominant performance in the playoffs. Now, I will give this is one concession I will say to the other teams that have been through the playoffs before. This was one of the weaker playoff slates ever from a dominant team standpoint, I'll say. You know, you had some major injuries like the Giannis injury that I think derailed some things. Boston isn't as good as they should be with all their talent. Philadelphia isn't as good as they should be with all their talent. You know, teams like the Kings are on their way up. They played well, but, you know, they got out-experienced. And then, you know, teams like Golden State are on their way out. You know, LeBron's on his way out. So it's the Nuggets' time, no doubt. They have the most complete team, the strongest team. They have the best player. It's kind of the recipe that the other championship teams all usually had, kind of the best team, maybe best player, sometimes both. So it happened last night. In my opinion, don't get me wrong, Jokic should have won the MVP, but I feel like you could have given it to Aaron Gordon if you're talking about finals MVP because he held Jimmy Butler down basically every game and just controlled Jimmy Butler. And it was just an amazing performance by Aaron Gordon. It really was. They might have should have went the Andre Iguodala way, you know, like they did, because Butler handled Gordon handled Jimmy Butler. It was a mismatch on that end of the floor. Gordon kept him out of everything, kept him out of scoring, kept him out of rebounds, kept him out of assists. Just really derailed Jimmy Butler's game. It was impressive to watch Gordon. But no, the Nuggets are probably going to win a few championships in the next couple of years if they can keep that core together. It'll be very similar to the Spurs, where they're not the flashy team, but they win. Similar to the Duncan Spurs. So I don't know. Good spot to be in if you're a Denver Nuggets fan, which I am. It's been a long time. We haven't been good for a while. Not like this. You know, we had a chance in the Carmelo years. People forget that we went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to a Kobe Bryant team and a couple Trevor Ariza steals. But the Denver Nuggets had them Lakers on the ropes a few times in them years. So it wasn't like Denver hasn't been good. It's just been a minute, you know. So it's not hard to be a Denver sports fan, by the way. You know, we've had some success outside of our baseball. You know, we did go to one World Series, but, you know, our hockey team just won a Stanley Cup. Now the Nuggets just won. The Broncos have been good for years and years. You know, they're going through a down spell, but it's not like they've just never been good. Like some other sports teams and sports cities just are never good, you know. Like, when was the last time a Detroit, you know, the Red Wings run, right? Other than that, Detroit hasn't had anything really good. The baseball was good a couple years ago, but it wasn't like this super dominant, like going to be a, what do you call it, like a dynasty thing, right? So, I don't know. It's a good spot. So let's get to today's bet, guys. Stanley Cup, Game 5. Vegas up 3-1. This is back in Vegas. So let's talk about this. I'm going to go back to the bet we actually lost one time when I'm going to say Vegas scores over 3.5 goals. You're getting it at even money. Vegas team total over 3.5. When they're in Vegas, they scored 5 and they scored 7 in games that Florida committed 14 and 11 penalties in. Florida's going to be desperate. I think they get a lot of power plays, man. What's up, buddy? I think that the Vegas Knights get a ton of power plays in this one, and I think the puck will be in Florida's end the whole game, like it has been the rest of the series, and I think Vegas gets to 4 goals. Um, at plus 100 even money, it's a good bet. Vegas at home is really, really good, and I think they're going to bring it. Vegas is going to bring the show. They're going to have the whole lead up, theatrics, and then Vegas fans are just crazy strong, right? They are. I mean, them Vegas fan group in there, they just love them Vegas Knights, man. They're going to bring the energy. The stars are going to be out. I think 4 goals isn't out of range, and 4 goals, and Vegas could lose and still get paid. Even money, 4 goals. I love it. Like I said, I think it's going to come down to the power plays, and I think Vegas is going to basically stay on the power play because Florida is going to be so desperate. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to have a lot of skate outs where Vegas is on fast breaks, and Vegas has dominated the series, guys. This series should probably be over with already. Vegas just missed a couple shots in the game they lost in overtime. So it's not like that. Vegas has dominated this, and I think they dominate tonight. I actually don't think it'll be close. It's going to be like a 5-2 again, something like that, where Vegas just really hammers them. And again, I'll say it again. It's because I think Vegas will stay on the power play. I think they'll consistently be on the power play just because Florida will be desperate. And Florida's already kind of a heavy penalty team. They play defense really aggressively. Their offense isn't very good, so they have to really make things happen on defense. And also Kachuk's hurt, so Kachuk may not even play. I think he will because he's that guy. He'll probably go out there with a broken arm, but he's gonna. At the end of the last game, he was kind of useless out there, and he was even missing shifts and everything. Without a healthy Kachuk, Florida never stood a chance. So I don't think they have a chance in this one. The money line reflects it. Even the puck line at minus 1.5, you're still having to lay 1.5, 150. It's still hot even then. But I think without a doubt, I think Florida goes home. They're done. They're kind of like the Miami Heat. Probably shouldn't be here. Probably should have been Boston. But Boston figured out a way to lose to Florida after being up 3-1. So I don't think it happens here. I don't think Vegas allows them to come back like that. I think Vegas, hoists the cup tonight. You could bet the money line for Vegas, and I think it's a good bet, but man, it is juiced up. You'd really have to put some money on it to make anything out of it. I think the play is over the 3.5 goals. Again, Vegas has only had 2 periods in the whole Stanley Cup that they didn't score a goal in. So 2 periods in the whole thing they didn't score. That's a lot of periods to have goals, and they've had multiple goals in multiple periods. And in Vegas, the third period in both Vegas games were 3 goals. So I like this one. This is one of my favorite plays of the day. I actually have 3 units on it myself. I think it's a good spot. You're getting even money at something that is right on their average, but we've noticed, obviously, if you've been watching the Stanley Cup, which team is clearly better. So I think it's a good spot. It's a really good spot to take a chance, put a little extra money out there. Yesterday, we did hit our under bet on the first quarter. Jimmy Butler didn't show up, so we missed that one. And Jamal Murray missed his assist by 1 assist. And there were so many plays where he dumped it down and the guy got fouled and just couldn't get in the bucket. But there was one. We got burnt on 1 assist where they dumped it down to Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon made the play and made the bucket, but they called the penalty, or they called the foul on the floor. Oh, it would burn us out of that one. We would have had a win right there. That burned us bad. And I think if he got that one there, he actually gets to his double-double. I think he would have tried at the end of the game to get a double-double. And the foul trouble hurt that too. The foul trouble early, where he had to miss some minutes early, hurt us there. The whistle was really tight on Denver in the beginning of that game. Some really ugly, soft penalties. So, anyways, it doesn't matter. Denver came out ahead. And whoever the clown was that shot up a bunch of people in Denver during the celebration, I don't know if you guys heard about that, but there was a shooting. Like 8 people or 10 people got hurt. These clowns, man, I don't understand these people. What are you doing? Why are you even down there with a weapon anyway? Like, why do you have a gun down in the middle of a celebration of a team that hadn't won in 50 years or whatever it was? Why are you down there with a gun? God, some of these people just need to grow up. Anyway, that's my rant on that. I hate that stuff. Gives good gun owner, gives quality gun owners a bad name. I'm just gonna say that. That kind of crap. But anyway, back to sports. So yeah, we're through with basketball season. Denver's a big favorite leading into next year. So we got baseball season hot and heavy about the All-Star break time. College World Series starting up. That's nice. That's fun. But yeah, it's just hockey's one game left. I don't think it goes past this game. I just doesn't think it go. I think this is the end for hockey too. So we'll be stuck with baseball. Obviously, if you're worldwide on soccer, then you know that. I don't know that stuff, so this is not my wheelhouse. But yeah, so we'll be looking forward to NFL season, college football season. Be building up for that. There's going to be some fun stuff happening this year in football. Holy crap! The AFC is going to be a bloodbath, an absolute bloodbath in the AFC, right? The NFC has the inside track to Super Bowl. They just have the easier path. The AFC team that gets to the Super Bowl this year is probably going to be beat to death because all the power is in the AFC. It's just crazy how wide ranging it is. There's teams in the AFC that are going to get fourth in their division that would be first in NFC divisions. Or maybe not first, but would contend. Because I'm looking at teams like, we'll take my team, the Denver Broncos, will likely end up fourth, even with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. They'll be third or fourth. I don't think they're better than the Chargers or the Chiefs. So, but in another division, they would be a contender, if not win it. So, you put them in the South with Tampa and New Orleans and all them, they would win that division. So it's just going to be crazy. But there's some upstarts, man. I think we're going to see a really good Detroit team. I think we're going to see a quality Detroit team. So all you Detroit people out there, man, this is your chance. Dan Campbell's built a monster there, and it's about to explode. It's about to tear out of its shell. They got a good Aaron Rodgers out of the division. Minnesota's having all kinds of problems. The Bears are on their way up too now, though. Don't sleep on them Bears. Them Bears are on their way up too. They've made a lot of moves, putting the right pieces in place. But Detroit is primed and ready to get that one. I think they win that division. And I think they're a legit contender. I mean, they're going to be offensively sound. If they can put anything together on defense, it's going to be tough. Detroit's going to be a fun one. We're going to get to see a lot about them week 1 against Kansas City. I don't think... I'll get to that in a second, Midmo. I don't think that... I don't think that that's just going to be a cakewalk in the NFC. I think that the Eagles are the best team, I guess, but maybe not. It just depends on who's quarterback in San Francisco. Let's not forget, San Francisco is really good. Like, really, really, really good. Like super good. If they have a quarterback, which we think they might in Purdy, they're going to win 13 games. I mean, they're that good. So, there's also the Super Bowl hangover thing that Philadelphia could experience. And as far as, so the way the Super Bowl hangover tends to work is a team makes big adjustments, right? They make crazy adjustments, like change their whole offensive line, change all their coordinators, lose 5 defensive players. And so they end up not getting back or not even making the playoffs. That's what's happened to the Bengals. They changed their whole offensive line. Didn't get back. Hold on.
Right when you left.
All that kind of stuff. So I think the Eagles are still in line to be really good. But do they make too many adjustments and San Francisco takes their spot? Probably. I would say that. So Super Bowl, I'm looking at San Francisco. And this is kind of tentative based on their based on their quarterback situation, right? But I think if Brock Purdy's healthy, I think they definitely are the best team in the NFC, talent wise. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some crazy San Francisco stuff where they make some weird trade again, trade off, the 2033 picks or whatever they have left in the next decade to get another superstar in there. But anyway, and then on the AFC side, man, I'm going to put it like this. Until you beat the man, you're not the man. So I actually think Kansas City gets better this year. I think Kansas City's defense is going to take a step forward with all the rookies that played last year. And I actually think Kansas City's going to be better than last year. Now, one thing, Kansas City has this absolutely destructively brutal schedule. Like their schedule is contender, 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 contender. I mean, their breaks are like the Raiders, But the thing is it's been that way for 5 years for them. It's all contenders. Everyone's giving Kansas City their best shot. I just don't know why anyone would bet against the Chiefs as the favorite. Make the argument. Someone make the argument to me that the Chiefs aren't the best team in the NFL. I just don't see it. Like what team? All the teams are doing when New England was the best team in the NFL, every team built a team to beat New England. All right. That's what everyone's doing now. The reason San Francisco's defense is the way it is to beat the Chiefs. The reason the Chargers have made all their moves to beat the Chiefs. The reason the Bills make all their moves to beat the Chiefs. The Bengals to beat the Chiefs. It's not anyone else. No one else is involved. They're like, we have to get through these guys first, and then we'll just deal with whoever's on the other end, is what they're thinking. So, to me, you have the best player, you have the best coach, you have the best tight end, you have the best defensive lineman. I know people will try to tell me that Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald's past his prime a little bit. It's Chris Jones's time. And also, you took rookies into the Super Bowl at your corners and stuff, and they held up. I mean, yeah, they got torched a few times, but they held up good enough, right? They were rookies. Next year, this is the next year. They're going to be better, right? They're going to have more time in. They're going to more conditioning, more NFL stuff, more learning. The ascension of the Chiefs defense, Nick Bolton, all these players that are there. They're not going anywhere. They're under contract. They're young, rookies. With Mahomes and Kelsey and that offense on the other side, knowing that these rookies and these young players, they don't have to be perfect, right? They can play Spagnuolo defense, which is go forward on every play. That's Spagnuolo's defense. Whether it's a blitz, whether you're trying to intercept it, go forward on every play because we got Patrick Mahomes on the other side. He's going to put up 30. As long as we don't give up 30, we're good. And so that's what they're going to do. And I think this year it all comes to fruition, and all those guys are good, and Kansas City ends up with a top 10 D, and it's just a dominance. I think they're built that way. The Tyreek Hill trade, and I've said this before, the Tyreek Hill trade allowed Kansas City to build a defense. The players that they've got from that Tyreek Hill trade have allowed Kansas City to rebuild a defense with no money invested. All right, they've got these corners. They got Karlaftis, going to have a huge year probably. Chris Jones already anchoring it down. Nick Bolton anchoring it down. They got a star at every level. You got Snead, star at every level, and then all these young guys that are trying to eat. So they're now in 2 years when they got to pay everybody. Yeah, it's going to go back down the chute. But 2 more years, I think Kansas City's window for absolute dominance is 2 more years. After that, they're going to have to make some moves. But I think in 2 years, I think we see Kelsey move on. I think we see Chris Jones move on. So it's going to open up the spots. But and I'm a Denver fan, guys, but there's no doubt in my mind Kansas City's the best team in the NFL. And I don't think anyone gets there for a while, especially even the AFC West. I just don't think they beat them for a while. And I know how this feels because I remember when we had John Elway in Denver, we were the favorite every year in the AFC West. And we were always better than the other teams because of Elway. And so I think it's kind of that way for the Chiefs. It's their turn, and then, more power to them. I kind of live in Chiefsville, here in Arkansas. So some of my good friends are all big Chiefs fans, and I'm kind of a Chiefs fan myself now. I like watching Patrick Mahomes play. Is what I like. I like watching the best player to ever play football at the quarterback position play. And I'm not saying he's the greatest, because there's obviously a guy that has 7 rings, all right, 10 tries, 11 tries, 10 or 11 tries, right? But as far as he's the most talented player we've ever seen at the position. So I think Mahomes gives that 7 a run in his career. Will he get there? I have no idea. But I think Mahomes goes down as the best quarterback ever. If he stays on any kind of trajectory like he is, if he plays 15, 17 years, he'll hold every record. He'll have 4 or 5, 7 Super Bowls. I don't know. He'll have a bunch. He's already got, guys. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up. Anyone that doesn't understand what's happened in this Mahomes era, the Kansas City Chiefs have hosted 5 AFC title games. Now, they weren't always the 1 seeds. So a couple times they had to have the 1 seed lose. But they are 2 plays away from being to 5 straight Super Bowls. Think about that now. One play was against New England early on, where Dee Ford lined up offsides on a play that Brady threw a pick. Tom Brady ends up winning that game in overtime. All right? An overtime game that Mahomes didn't get to touch the ball, and they didn't change the rules then, but when Allen had the same problem, they changed the rules. So I'm just going to let that one go. All right? And the next Super Bowl that they didn't get to was the Cincinnati win, where, the Chiefs dominated the first half, and that game ended up in overtime. Now, Mahomes lost that game. I'll give Mahomes lost that game. But one play different, and that game never gets to overtime. If that play at the end of the half goes differently and the Chiefs get in the end zone, the game goes, it's different, right? It's different. Or they kick a field goal. The game never gets to overtime. So the Chiefs are literally 2 plays away from being in 5 straight Super Bowls. And that's what the dominance of the Chiefs in the last few years, people just don't understand it. I get that some of it is fandom that gets in the way of it, but the sheer dominance has been it's been better than every other dominant team in a stretch. They've been so dominant. And put it this way, the Chiefs have only lost 4 games. Maybe it's 3 games. They've only lost 3 games in their division. They've lost twice to the Raiders and once to the Chargers, and haven't lost to the Broncos at all in the Mahomes era. That's how dominant they've been. And I just want to bring that up because that's my thought process on this. Why would that change? They have all the same people, and they have the best player in the world. So why would that change? That was it. Anyways, back to our bet for today. We got Vegas Golden Knights team total over 3.5 at plus 100. We're even money. Let's go Vegas Golden Knights. Let's see what happens. Four goals is what we need. You can hoist the cup as long as you score 4 goals. If you don't score 4 goals, you can't hoist the cup. That's my rule for you, Vegas. Anyways, y'all have a great day. This is Jacob from What'd You Be This. Let's get some money tonight. Cheering on. Let's get them.